Now, majority of guys have to understand that their main issue is that the women that they want, okay, or the women that they genuinely desire, they don't know how to get that interest to be reciprocated. Now, let me explain why this is very important. So a couple of days ago, Austin and I did an entire full-length podcast that I'm going to leave the link down below so you can check this out in even greater detail. After I show you the biggest mistakes in this video that majority of men are making, what I want you to do after that is go into the description and check out the full-length podcast that Austin and I did where we take this stuff even further. Now, this video is going to be so drastically important because these are going to be the keys that actually help improve your masculinity in ways that most can't even see. Well, majority of people are only looking at, what makes the man from the external, okay, what makes the man from the physical, what makes the man from what meets the eye. This is going to show you how a woman's brain operates so you can understand how she perceives attraction at an even deeper level. The first step to understanding how to make the women that you want genuinely want you back, or the women that you want genuinely want you as well, is you have to understand how she perceives attraction. So step by step, I'm going to show you the keys in and of itself that you have to understand to truly internalize these concepts. So stick with me because this video will be loaded with solid information for you. Now, when you start to understand how women perceive attraction, you have to understand that her entire reality is words, okay? What makes up, everything that woman sees is facilitated through words and how those words make her feel. So, words are the land of emotion, which means you need to learn how to dabble in this. You need to learn how to talk to a woman the right way. Words are a woman's weakness, okay? So what does that even mean? That means that you can be as high value as you want, okay? You can be as good looking as you want. You can be as rich as you want. You can do all of these things to improve yourself. Dude, you have to understand. There's a lot of rich people. There's a lot of rich men. There's a lot of successful men. There's a lot of men with six-pack abs. There's a lot of high-value men. Majority of men still have zero results with the relationships and dating life that they actually want. The reason is because women are looking at the personality and the character and the depth of character as a whole, which means her entire reality is facilitated through the land of emotion, okay? Emotion is only facilitated through words. Sometimes those words make her feel sad. Sometimes those words make her feel happy. Sometimes those words make her feel angry. Sometimes those words make her feel horny. It doesn't matter, but you have to facilitate a feeling. This is something that 99% of men can't do. And this is so important to comprehend. The reason being is because words are the only thing that can actually hook a woman's heart to get her to view you the way that you want her to view you. Okay? This goes beyond just attraction. This goes beyond just sex. This even goes beyond sex appeal. This is how you make the woman feel. This is if you have the ability to generate the skills to make it so that way when she's laying there in bed, okay, dreaming, or when she's thinking about certain things, you are on her mind. That is a skill in and of itself. Now, I tell you this for a specific reason. I tell you this because in the podcast that Austin and I did together, we put together tons of footage for you that explains front-end game and the state of emotion that you need that woman in when you first meet her or when you first introduce yourself to her. And we take that even a step further and show you all of the skills needed on the back end with the masculinity characteristics and traits that she desires in a man that makes her feel safe, that makes her feel protected, that makes her feel wanted. These are two polar opposite skills, and they're both extremely needed and necessary. Now, let's make up a hypothetical story. Let's paint the perfect picture. Let's say the girl that you wanted, she wants you. Let's say you went out to a party, you went out to a social event, or you had a crush on a girl, and you learned the right things or you demonstrated the right things that gave her a heightened perceived value of you. Okay? Meaning she looks at you different. Meaning out of all of the men that she could talk to on the apps on her phone, all of the men she could have met at that social party, all of the men she could meet walking down the street or going to the shopping mall, she chose you. Great. You've successfully demonstrated the correct masculinity traits that are needed to demonstrate value. What's next? The next point that 99% of men do not understand is that masculine value decreases the more she sees you. The longer you are in front of her, the more you are talking to her, the more she knows where you stand with her, the less she's interested in you. Now, there is so much content on the internet where men get very angry about that. They get bitter about that. They get spiteful about that, and they feel hurt. Okay? Let me break this down for you so you can actually take this concept and leverage it to your advantage by actually understanding how that woman perceives attraction. Okay? The first thing you have to understand about women is that scarcity creates value. So if I give you a private jet and I give you $100 million and I give you all of the traits in the world that would signal on paper, hey, this guy is a good bet for a woman, or this guy is a solid dude, or this guy's going somewhere, or this guy's successful. You have to understand that the more attached he becomes, the more certainty he gives her, the more he's right there in front of her. She can't even help it. Okay, her feminine intuition or her biology closes off to him. And I'm going to explain why. You have to understand that masculine value decreases the more she sees you, which means the words that she falls in love with start to decrease in value. Your words start to hold no weight. And the biggest reason for this is because distance apart, when you are apart from a woman, when there's tension and chemistry and she's in love with you, but she notices there's maybe long time delays between your text messages. When you're working, you're fully in the zone with your work, meaning there might be 12 to 24 hour spans sometimes if you're working on a project or if you're doing things that signals protection, provisioning, and strength. Distance is the thing that signals high value. The only thing that signals true high value to a woman is if the man is hard to get a hold of for time, if the man is not easily accessible, and if the man has other priorities going on that does not involve her. And I'm going to explain to you why this is. Only in the modern world is it now normal to sit on a couch and cuddle. Only in the modern world is it now normal to lay in bed for 4 hours at a time as a grown man and turn on the television and sit there in a state where your brain is shut off. Women optimize for the man that is the best fit for their own survival, which means when she sees you in a lackadaisical state, when she sees you lazy, when she sees you just sitting there with her spending quality time, she's slowly becoming disinterested. Because if you look at this from a standpoint of how were things, or how did men have to behave 500 years ago, 1,000 years ago, men had to go do things, which means there maybe was times a man had to go and hunt. There was a time that maybe men had to go and find shelter. Okay, there was distance apart, there was tasks. This is why when you're focused on your purpose, this is why when you're focused on your mission, this is why when you're focused on things you are building in life as a man, she's naturally drawn to it. You're building a world with or without her that she naturally wants to fall into. So only in the modern world is it now normal to sit on a couch and cuddle. The reason why I keep, obviously you can tell I want you to watch this podcast. It's super good. And you guys know I don't do very many interviews. The reason why I want you to watch this full-length podcast Austin and I did is because we show you specific ways that you can retain women much easier So that way your relationships and your dating interactions don't end rapidly like 99% of most guys do. Now, the third concept that a man has to understand in all ways, shapes, and forms is that a woman wants to come into your own pre-existing world. That means with or without her, you have built your own world. You have built your own identity. You know who you are through and through. You're sturdy. You're like a rock. Okay? This is extremely attractive for a woman when she senses a man like this because you're not making a woman the focus. When a woman sees that you do not make her the focus, this signals strength. This signals safety because he probably has other things going on. This also shows emotional resiliency because he's not demonstrating clinginess or neediness. That is naturally a man who appears strong in the eyes of a woman. Therefore, she gravitates towards him. So a man's true test in life is if he can stay strong and focused. For majority of men, especially today in the modern world, they fall weak to women. They are going weak for a woman's beauty. They are constantly focused on sex. That mindset is what's leading them to not be their most attractive selves. So this is not good because what will happen is she will slowly despise you more and more and more the more you focus on her. And if a man can adapt these three elements, okay, to make the women genuinely fall in love with him or to ensure that the women he wants also have desire back, he's going to be happier, he's going to feel more fulfilled, and it's going to feel more purposeful, having a sense of control over his dating life. So this is why I want you to go down below and check out that podcast because it is super good. You guys know I do not do very many interviews. I do not do very many, I'm not on a whole lot of other people's channels. This is a super good video that I want you guys to check out down below. And here's a beautiful thing about all of the points that I just discussed with you. You can demonstrate these things that I just talked about today at any age, any income level, any level of status. Because the things I just talked about is the internal. It's the personality. Women fall in love with depth of character and who that man has become, how that man views the world, because women fall in love through words. If you can understand this element, you can win. So check out that podcast below. I also want you to check out the gift that I made for you guys. That will also be in the description. Hit the like button, comment, and subscribe. Let me know if there's any other content creators as well that you would like to see me potentially collaborate with in the future. Hit the like button, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.